I recently switched to a full-on carnivore diet. Yes, I did, and it transformed my life.
What?
It cured a lot of the pain that I had, healed my gut, lost a bunch of fat, and gave me a new sense of purpose. That is how most videos from carnivore experts start nowadays.
This is the ultimate breakfast. I've got 6 fried eggs, 3 homemade high-fat burgers, 3 lamb loin chops, all cooked in butter.
I've been on the carnivore diet for 7 months and it has completely changed my life. And when I say carnivore, I literally mean steak for breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Here's what I'm eating for dinner to maintain my 60-pound weight loss and keep my insulin-resistant PCOS in remission.
This is how humans are meant to eat. As someone who lost 60 pounds of body fat and healed several chronic health issues through food.
My life has changed in the matter of 2 weeks. It is day 14 of carnivore diet and I am like a new woman.
No, I didn't actually switch to a carnivore diet, but the kind of videos that I just show you are completely out of control on social media nowadays, so I thought it was time for me to do a full carnivore diet review. I'm going to go through everything today, from what the diet actually is, how it works, the evidence behind it, and whether or not it's something I would ever recommend you trying or that you should even consider. So if you want to find out the truth about the carnivore diet from a registered dietitian and the impact that it can have on your health and whether or not you should try it, keep watching. Hey guys, what's going on? It's Andres here, and this week I'm doing a deep dive into one of the most controversial diet trends I feel in the last couple years, 2023 and 2024, and that is the carnivore diet. It's one you've probably seen across social media with people biting into sticks of cold butter or having meals with 6 eggs, 3 burgers, and 4 lamb chops, or some people even eating bull testicles. And in this video, I'm going to be explaining what the deal is with this extreme diet. But first, let me give you a quick introduction. If you are first time you're watching any of my videos, my name is Andres Ayesta. I'm a dietitian who works with men in their 30s and 40s to help them lose fat and gain muscle. On this channel, I share tons of simple science-backed advice to help you reach your fat loss goals. I also make videos debunking myths and reviewing fat diets that create a lot of confusion for people who just want to lose weight and keep it off long term. So if you're working on a weight loss goal right now, make sure that you hit subscribe so you don't miss any of my videos coming out next. Now let's get into this week's topic, starting with what exactly the carnivore diet is. The carnivore diet is a dietary pattern that focuses exclusively on animal-based foods like meat, fish, eggs, and animal fats, while eliminating all plant-based foods, which includes fruits, vegetables, grains, legumes, so no carbs, no vegetables, no nothing. Most people who follow this diet also recommend eliminating dairy or limited intake to foods that are very low in lactose like butter and hard cheeses. So it goes without saying that this is an extremely restrictive diet, even more restrictive than keto. And you may be wondering, what is exactly the appeal? Well, the main reason people often are drawn to this diet is because they hear stories on social media of people claiming the carnivore diet cured tons of their health issues and helped them lose weight and a bunch of other claims. I already share a few clips, but here are some more claims I've come across recently about the results people have been seeing from following this diet.
The biggest benefit that most people will agree on is skin. That was the main reason I started carnivore in the first place. Number 2, acid reflux. I had crazy acid reflux and heartburn, indigestion all the time. 3, snoring and sleep. I'm just gonna put these 2 together. I used to snore like crazy my whole life.
Ever since going from a vegan diet to a carnivore diet, I don't have body odor. Eating plants, my feet would get smelly all the time. My hair would get greasy. I would fart and have gas all the time. All of these odors went away when I only eat meat, and I no longer fart. What about you?
I was diagnosed with an autoimmune condition, or really any chronic illness at all. The very first thing that I would do is get on a full carnivore diet. I'm not a doctor, I'm not a medical professional, this is not medical advice, but I'm going to share me and my husband's story with you.
Why is it that eating the carnivore diet cures what you were struggling with? They've showed that putting people on an all ruminant meat diet stops gut permeability issues.
So if you got people saying that the carnivore diet stopped them from farting, having body odor, and having to use body wash, which actually some people would say it's the complete opposite, cured their acid reflux, improved their acne, healed their gut and stopped them from bloating, solved their autoimmune issues, improved their anxiety and their depression. It honestly seems like an endless list of improvements that people are attributing to eating a diet of only meat. And some of these clips might seem pretty convincing, to be honest. But if you only look at the successes, you're missing another whole side of the story when it comes down to this diet. And I'm gonna show that to you today. And part of the reason it's easy to get caught up on that is because the algorithm on social media shows us the things that we want to see more of. So if we're engaging with carnivore diet, cure me type content, then that's the kind of thing you're going to see, and we're going to be shown those type of things. Second of all, social media amplifies the most controversial people. If someone is showing you their day of eating where they're having huge amounts of meat for every meal and an entire stick of butter as a snack, well, that's the kind of content that is going to go viral. So I want to get into the science behind this diet and explain some of the dangers of the carnivore diet that are essential to understand before you consider giving this or something like this a try. The first thing that becomes very clear when you look into the research on the carnivore diet is that there is essentially no research. So we really know nothing about the long-term effects of this diet or its sustainability. And anything we know about it comes from anecdotal evidence from people on social media talking about their experiences. Some people, maybe they don't have any type of health background, and some people are doctors, or there's even some dietitians talking about this as well. That is not to say that people aren't seeing the benefits. Don't get me wrong. And maybe you're watching this and you're one of those. But we really need some control studies on this diet before we draw any conclusions about its effectiveness. There's nothing magical about the carnivore diet. In reality, I'll explain what's happening in most cases when it comes down to both weight loss and symptom reduction. Let's talk about weight loss first and some of the symptoms. How does it work? If you're trying to lose weight and you start this diet, you might be successful, well, because you suddenly cut out sugary, processed, calorie-dense foods that were causing you to probably eat more calories than what you needed, which resulted in weight gain. You'll also be eating a diet that is higher in protein and also in fat, which can have a major satiating effect, and I'll talk about this in a second. It will cause you to eat a lot less overall. However, if you're not paying attention to your total calorie intake, it's also completely possible to gain weight on this diet if you're taking in more calories than you're burning. Regardless of the diet you're following, the basic laws of thermodynamics always apply. Again, this is really rare in carnivore diets because, as I mentioned, it's extremely satiating. Like consuming 2,000 calories plus of just meat, eggs, and butter is a lot. So naturally, you're eating way less. When it comes down to symptoms that you may be having, whether that is gut issues, skin problems, or something else. So what's typically going on is you've cut out so many foods on the carnivore diet that you happen to cut out a few that your body doesn't really respond well to. And that's what maybe caused the reduction in inflammation and improve digestion. But there's a much better approach here that any qualified nutrition professional is going to recommend, and that's doing an elimination diet. This is something we do in a systematic way without the intention of making that restriction a long-term lifestyle. For example, maybe you found out through an elimination diet that your body doesn't respond well to gluten or soy products. Well, then you would remove those specific things for a specific time. You wouldn't remove all legumes, fruits, vegetables, and grains just because you have two foods that were causing your issues. That's just overkill. And you're making your diet unnecessarily hard to stick to. Now let's talk about what you're missing out on if you're only eating meat. Without fruits, vegetables, and whole grains, you're not going to be getting any fiber in your diet, which has an important role in gut health, even in low-carb diets. Along with that, it's very likely you won't be getting a bunch of vitamins and minerals that are so important, like vitamin C, which is essential for immune function and collagen production, so you would have to supplement. Plus, you're also going to have a lack of phytochemicals. These are antioxidants and anti-inflammatory compounds from plants, meaning your body may not be getting enough protection from oxidative stress and inflammation. Now, some people will say that inflammation actually goes down, and that could potentially be true, but again, it's mostly because of the fact that you're reducing or eliminating a lot of foods that may have been causing this in the first place. And I'm not making this stuff up, guys. There are plenty of people struggling with gut health issues while going on carnivore diets. Take a look at this post, for example, from a carnivore Facebook support group, which, by the way, they glorify some of the symptoms and some of these downsides, and they're like, oh, when is this going to end? Explosive and massive diarrhea? Come on. There's also the possibility that the carnivore diet may contribute to heart disease due to the high intakes of fat and saturated fat specifically, combined with the lack of fiber-rich plant foods, which, in case you don't know, fiber typically tends to lower cholesterol and tends to lower a lot of those like lipids in your blood so that you have less risk of any type of blockages in the future. Saturated fats in red meat, butter, and other animal products can raise your levels of LDL or your bad cholesterol, which is not always a bad thing, but it's always associated associated with the increased risk of heart disease, particularly the type of LDL or the type of bad cholesterol that is very small particles, which are the ones that are shown to produce atherosclerosis or the type of blockages I was just talking about. Now, I do want to make a note that there is some controversy around the connection between saturated fat intake and heart disease risk, with some people and some data and researchers claiming that the widespread advice to limit consumption of saturated fats to no more than 10% of total calories is not supported by rigorous scientific studies. However, other researchers have concluded that the evidence we currently have continues to support the recommendations to limit or just be aware of your saturated fat intake because the effects of heart diseases are still uncertain. The reality here is that we need more research on this area. The impact of saturated fats on your health is going to be strongly impacted by how it fits into your overall dietary pattern. And while it's possible, we may see saturated fat recommendations changing as more research comes out. For now, given the current state of evidence, I don't believe that we should be treating saturated fat as a health food or eating excessive amounts of it. Aside from the potential impacts on heart disease risk, there is also a number of other side effects that come along with this diet. On social media, I think it can sometimes seem like it's all positives, but take a look at some of these experiences that people are having with the carnivore diet share across various groups. This woman, for example, is losing her hair. Her hair is thinning out, but is hoping it's normal, and there's like at least 3 to 4 posts that I found just like this one. Obviously, any diet this restrictive will make you crave foods, and I get it. Maybe you don't have cravings for sugar and things like that, but an apple? Come on. Another gut health issue here where instead of massive explosive diarrhea, we have massive constipation. And considering this is a normal thing, no, it's not. 3 years on carnivore and the pain is coming back? Well, I thought this diet was supposed to cure diseases. A yeast infection? I mean, I'm not surprised when your gut bacteria gets all out of control due to lack of fiber. And for women, there's like this thing that I run into. They call it the keto crotch, which apparently you exude some form of odor out of your parts. That's not normal. And then you're gonna have professionals, doctors like Paul Saladino, favorite guy, love to talk about him, who used to refer himself as Carnivore MD. Not anymore. And he built his whole brand around the carnivore diet, wrote an entire book on it. But recently, he went on a podcast saying that he no longer follows the carnivore diet due to the symptoms that it was causing. Take a look at this video.
The end of that story, or the next chapter of the story, was about 2 years into the carnivore diet. I started noticing persistence of unpleasant symptoms. So testosterone dropped to around 500 total, sleep disturbances, palpitations, muscle cramps when I was surfing or climbing. And I started to think, okay, maybe long-term ketosis is not great for me.
And then you're going to have people like Liver King. I'm sure you know who Liver King is, who built a following of millions, showing his ridiculously and massive, crazy physique, preaching the primal way of living, which focused almost exclusively on the nutritional side on meat and eggs. Until not long ago, the truth came out about him and his $12,000 a month drug and steroid regimen to accomplish that physique. And I'm sure he works out hard. I see his videos and all that kind of stuff. But you can't continue to start to think that simply because you see a specimen on social media that has this crazy physique or this amazing health and all those different things like that, that there's not a whole lot more to it. So without a doubt, there are some health concerns with following an all-meat diet. But I also want to point out that there are other major drawbacks as well. One of them is, well, the issue with the cost of this diet. Quality animal products like grass-fed beef, wild-caught fish, and pasture-raised poultry are expensive, making the carnivore diet inaccessible for a lot of people, and I can see less money spent on other foods not allowed in carnivore diet, so perhaps this is not a major problem, but it's still important to address. Also, I think the biggest drawback of them all is the cultist mentality that I have seen around carnivore diet followers. Most likely, there will be a few of them in the comment section who will defend this dietary lifestyle no matter what. The main traits of these people are, well, they believe big food is out to get them, so most of them fall under the group of also conspiracy theorists on social media. Even they call themselves experts in this diet. They just follow some big names and automatically became experts, and they are set on their own views, and nothing logical presented to them will ever change their beliefs. And again, if you don't believe me and this video starts to get picked up on YouTube, then you're going to see that on the comments. So with all this said, here's where I stand on carnivore diets. As a dietitian, I'm what I like to call a diet agnostic, which means I'm here to support you no matter what your preferred dietary lifestyle is. Nutrition is completely personal. So my role as a dietitian is to give you the most up-to-date evidence-based nutrition information and to help you find something that works for you. I believe that almost any diet can do that and can work for you if you can sustain it. And I personally experimented experimented with a bunch of different diets in the past, including keto. From that experience, I can see one of the reasons that carnivore diet appeals to people, and that's because of all the rules. With all those black and white restrictions, it can simplify people's lives and make their dietary choices so much easier. They don't need to learn how to create balance with their nutrition because the decisions are already made for them by a lot of these diet rules, and that approach to nutrition does work for a lot of people. But the truth is that for the majority of people, the carnivore diet is not sustainable, and it has its downsides and dangers, and it is also not necessary to get the results that you're looking for or for achieving optimal health. So while I'm not against the carnivore diet, I'm against people promoting unsustainable approaches and leading their social media followers to believe that the carnivore diet is a magical solution to all of their health problems, particularly when they're doing this stuff to their children who are not even 2 years old. I have one. What I recommend instead of an all-meat diet is finding balance and creating a plan that you can stick with. I suggest incorporating plenty of plant-based nutrients like fiber, vitamins, and antioxidants from fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and legumes, which extensive research have proven it will support digestion, reduce inflammation, and promote overall health. Then pairing these fiber-rich foods with adequate lean protein along with healthy fats like avocados, olive oil, and nuts that will help you with satiety, muscle maintenance, hormonal health, all those things. Long-term success for the majority of people comes from avoiding extreme restrictions, eating a variety of foods, and prioritizing habits like regular physical activity, stress management, and good sleep hygiene. It's a simple formula for success, and it's not controversial, so it's not something that typically goes viral on social media, but it's science-based and it works. I know, again, this doesn't sound sexy or cool enough, like the shirtless guys going on grocery stores with wooden cutting boards and sharing how they eat liver and raw eggs, but the simple and boring advice that I provide here is the one that for the majority of people stands the test of time. I have been doing this for 12 years and I have seen all these fats and all these things come and go. I haven't met more than 5 people, for example, who have done carnivore diet for 10 years. It's very rare. So here's my challenge for you. Instead of going full carnivore, how about you remove all processed foods for your diet for a month, 30 days. You only stick to whole grains, lean meats, fruits, vegetables exclusively for a month. Then ask yourself, how do you feel? In fact, I'm thinking I may need to test this out and then go on a full month of carnivore just so I can better understand this and share my experience. Should I do this? Let me know in the comments if you would love to see a dietitian going carnivore for a whole month. Now, if you don't want to do that, and you're a dad who's hearing this right now, and you know that you need to get out of this cycle of restriction, but you're just not sure how to get there, then I've got something that I think could be a game changer for you. I'm about to shamelessly plug what I do here. I want to invite you to check out my free FitSat webinar. This is where I walk you through exactly the 3-step process that I use with my clients to help them actually achieve long-term results and shed fat and keep that weight off long-term without sacrificing foods that you actually like and enjoy. Just head down to the description below, click the link, sign up for the webinar, and I promise it's going to be packed with actionable strategies that you can start using right away. But I think this is a good place for us to end off today. I really want to hear from you about what you thought of today's video. And specifically, let me know in the comments what your experience has been with carnivore diets, if you maybe tried them before. But please, to all my beautiful trolls out there, let's try to keep the comments respectful and civilized. I know this is a controversial topic, and my goal was to give you a balanced perspective on it. If you don't agree with something, I'm open to a conversation, but I'm not going to argue with you in the comment section. That said, let me know if you have any questions, and I'm going to see you back here soon for another new video. Hope you enjoyed this one. We'll see you next week.